born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes. Welcome, athletes, into another episode of the Gym Closet. Amber's tired today.
Very tired.
If this is your first time joining us, the Gym Closet is an optimization podcast. How would you like that? Yeah, a way to live like an athlete, and to we talk about what it means to live like an athlete and everything that is living a great life and why living like an athlete is greatness. Yes.
Yeah.
So today we have a special guest in studio. We don't oftentimes get our guests in studio, so welcome Sam Huey.
Woo!
With Rock Valley PT. So he is our he is Krave Gym's official PT and helps out with any
Physical therapist.
Yeah, sorry.
Not personal training.
Right. That's true. We do
Right, we
performance
always-
training.
yeah.
Performance training, yeah. So yeah, physical therapist.
So welcome.
Good person to have on the team.
Thanks, glad to be here.
Yes. And
an athlete with us.
Yes,
So
and an
the
but
cool
or
thing,
is his name? Remember Zach? Is his name Zach or Sam?
No,
Oh,
that
yeah.
got awfully confusing pretty quickly.
So, long story short, Sam messaged me and he goes, "Hey, on Facebook, I'm gonna dress up as Zach for Halloween." And I was like, "This is gonna be awesome." But then I ran out of the office and my Facebook was up. So then Zach comes in and he's like, sees it and he goes, "Hey, it looks like Sam's gonna be me for Halloween, so I'm gonna go as Sam." And I'm like, "You shithead!"
I love going into the office and opening all of Amber's messages and just like scrolling
Perusing
through all of the messages.
So I was like, "Well, you ruined that one." So he goes, "I'm gonna go as Sam." I'm like, "That's pretty funny." So then they get to the Halloween party and they see each other and it was awesome.
Zach showed up in my shirt, and at first I wasn't quite sure, like, why does he have my shirt on?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's me. And then he pulled up his socks, and he had my socks with my kids' pictures on. I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Right.
Dana,
You took it
We'll go, we'll go with it.
I asked Dana just for a shirt, and she's like, "I'll bring you some socks. I'll bring you like all this stuff." I was like, "Okay."
yeah, he's wearing his
So-
underwear.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
really
It was really
That was
committed.
really
Yeah.
So I told Zach he needs to get a short like wig.
Yeah, everyone
You
would be
should
like,
have
"Oh, I
went
thought
and
you
got
meant
a
like
short
cut my
wig.
hair."
Well, cut. I mean,
Someone
that
told me
would've
to like
been
cut my
ideal.
hair
Yeah,
for it. Like,
That
And
would've
shave your
been
beard.
cool.
That
Yeah.
would have been commitment right there.
know.
But
Yeah.
you should have just went and got a short wig. Then Sam
know.
would have known what the hell you're doing.
Probably.
Speaking of shaving, Sam complimented me on my
yes.
I'm glad you had to bring that up.
of course.
Couldn't go
For-
without that.
This is the first podcast since I've had one.
Right.
So if you're watching on YouTube, I have my Movember mustache going on. So basically shaving that for, and my wink. Yes, I'll wink at the camera. And
Creepy.
if you follow Amber, if you don't, you should. If you do, you saw. Or no, this was on
It
Krave's.
was on Craves, I think.
On Krave's Instagram
Yeah,
and Facebook probably.
probably.
Anyway, she was doing a story as I was shaving it, and I winked to the camera, and she thought that was the creepiest
Oh
thing in the
my
world.
gosh, it was so.
She hates the mustache, so
Yep.
I absolutely love it.
You know, he actually
So
got another
all the-
compliment this morning on it though.
From a guy.
No, from
a
AJ.
girl, from AJ.
She's full of shit.
She's like,
Does
that's-
not like
she said
her
that's. She
mustache.
said
All
those,
She said
that's
it was
in.
cool.
She said
She
that's
did.
in.
She
said
said it was
that's
in. She really did.
Where?
In
Where's
where?
this in at?
Everywhere.
Like where?
In the United States
No, it's
of
not.
America.
I'm gonna talk
It's
to her.
Movember, so Men's Health November is kind of the reason I do. You do
Are
either
you supposed
Movember.
to grow it out long?
No, you can do
not
no.
like
You
do a
can do no
mustache?
shave November or Movember, which there's a mustache, and I always have a beard. So me growing out my beard, people would just look at me and say, "Oh, you just haven't shaved your beard for a while." A mustache,
Now they look
you
at you in a
actually get
different
comment. Right. So yeah. So it's
yeah,
for
Sam
Men's
likes
Health
it, so.
awareness for November. So
It's the first thing you said when you walk in. I like your mustache.
Yep.
Ugh. You can do it?
you should.
Yeah.
No.
Depends
I
on
can't take
Haley.
people serious like when he has that. It's-
Why do you need to take him serious?
Yeah.
well, so like we're doing a promo video for
Yeah.
a new offer we have
Right?
coming out, and I'm just like, how are people going to take you serious? Like, I just laugh. I don't know.
That's the
It's-
best part
yeah.
is like, yeah, we were recording videos for, and so like it's just Tyler's face.
Yeah.
Like when he
With a
tries to have serious
with a
business
big old
conversations with me,
mustache.
like I just can't even focus. I'm
had-
just like,
I
I
had
can't talk to you right now.
It was funny because I met with Bert, our business partner, and it was like a serious like growth meeting about the future and stuff, and like all serious stuff. And I show up like this, and he didn't say a thing.
He didn't?
No, but he has his mustache rolling too, so he's ready to roll.
Right, yeah. You know, I thought about that when you're like, Bert's coming down, we're gonna have some meetings. That's what my mind went to as a year we'll have a fucking mustache.
That's good. That's good. I think we got more accomplished because
I'm sure you did.
of our mustache.
It's like a brotherhood kind of, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly. So so we're not going to talk about the mustache all day. We're going to talk about a little bit about what Sam does and kind of talk about what he offers and why he's such an asset to our team. Being able to have him involved in at Krave is huge. But Rock Valley kind of is, and I'll let you explain a little bit more. But tell us a little bit about your background, kind of introduce everybody to you if they don't know you. If you're a Krave athlete, you probably have either seen him around training at Krave or at a championship, or his picture up on the wall as well. But tell us a little bit about your background and kind of what got you to your career where you are right now.
So first of all, I'll make a note that my picture at the Waukee location now has a mustache drawn on it.
Yeah, it does. I don't know who did that.
Yes.
When I showed up 2 weeks ago, I did have a mustache.
That's
and
hilarious.
November.
my student said, that doesn't look like you. And he grabbed the little marker and added it on.
Oh, I was gonna probably say it was Tony.
Yeah, I figured
Oh,
it
That
was.
was my
Tony.
student. And we got to get him still, by
We
the
do.
way.
We are going to get him. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this podcast.
He does subscribe, remember? So
Oh, sure.
we won't say anything more. So
We'll plan off camera.
Yes.
so my office is in Waukee, pretty close to the Krave location there, as you guys know.
Mhm.
I try to get there in the mornings and whenever I can. Otherwise I work out at my office. But been involved with Krave for a couple of years now, both as an athlete and helping out with people that have questions about injuries. Ultimate goal of trying to keep people in the gym, keep them going back, right, and not taking them away from the stuff they want to do and from their goals.
Mhm.
Which is what I love to do. I think my biggest frustration with the medical profession in general is like you go to your family doctor, your shoulder hurts, and their first thing is,
Medicine.
well, what hurts, right?
Right.
Let's throw medicine at it. Oh, weightlifting hurts. Let's stop weightlifting for a while, right?
Mhm.
And that's maybe sometimes that is the answer, but let's at least check it out and see if there's some way to work around it until it gets better. And that's kind of what we're all about at
Mhm.
Rock Valley.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
tell us a little bit about your background, like where you went to school and how you
Oh,
knew
you-
you wanted to do physical therapy. No, that's okay.
You really did want to talk about
I
me.
wanna
Okay.
talk
Yeah,
about
actually,
yeah.
you.
Let's-
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Where are you
let's do it.
from? Like, let's just get it all.
We got to
out there.
dive in.
So I grew up in North Iowa. It all started 35 years ago.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. I like it.
Where in North Iowa?
North Springs,
Nice.
Iowa.
How big is
Population
that?
Population of 1,800.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Alright.
big city.
I was gonna say that's a big
Metropolis.
city compared to.
It's 4 times the size
Yep.
of Latimer.
Graduated with 42, so the high school is like, if you have a pulse, you play every sport pretty much. You
Awesome.
know?
Yeah.
Which is so cool. Like nowadays, kids have to pick one sport and go with it, and it's so sad because I'm like, when I grew up too, I played 3 or 4 sports.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that's a whole problem in itself as far as
Right.
injuries and stuff. We
Well,
can get
Yes.
into that later
Oh,
if you
for
want.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But so I went to Wartburg College for undergrad. There 4 years, biology major, and then I went to Iowa for grad.
So did you know
school.
you wanted to be a physical therapist, or did you start biology because you didn't know what you wanted to do?
So
or-
I actually started as a journalism major
Wow.
for a
Nice.
semester.
Okay.
My initial thought was medical school, PT school, and I wasn't like super confident in myself at that time. So I went at that time what seemed like a little easier route of journalism, and then decided like I really want this isn't what I want to do. So I switched to biology, finished that up, and then got into PT school at Iowa
Nice.
the same year I graduated and did that, and then got special interest in sports and athletes kind of through that time. Spent some time with the Seattle Mariners,
Cool.
and awesome experience there, but kind of decided professional athletes wasn't where I wanted to spend my whole life because it's all like 20 to 25-year-old guys with elbow and shoulder pain, and it's the same thing, and it's
Mhm.
not super conducive to family life, you know?
Sure.
So learned a ton there, got a lot of experience there, and bring that back to the general population now when I work with those athletes for
Nice.
sure.
Nice. And you'd mentioned it before. I love the fact that being an athlete yourself and the goal of the end goal always being continuing what the client loves to do. And that's we just had this conversation with Bobby yesterday about how a lot of doctors, they may not be active themselves. They may not have been athletes themselves. They may not get the mental side of what living like an athlete does for you. And so when, like you said, the answer is just, okay, turn off, oh, your knee hurts? Well, guess what? Stop running. And if running's a big part of, or training in general, if that's a big part of not only your mental stress, what am I looking for? Reduction or whatever. But then also like your identity, like that's very tough to just be like, oh, I'm just going to cut this off and be bedridden for, you know what I mean?
Your mind automatically goes to, am I ever going to be able to do those things again? Because if I have to stop now, is this ever going to get better?
Right.
Yeah. And so many people, I think when people think of physical therapy, I think they think after a surgery. Right? Or so it's either I'm going to go to the doctor or the chiropractor. Well, can the chiropractor help me with my knee? Probably not. So I'm just going to go to the doctor. I think people don't drive by a physical therapy place and say, oh, I could just go in there like I can a chiropractor for my injuries. I think they just think
almost
it's from
seems like a prescription from a doctor.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And you might have to get prescriptions from doctors, or do you not have to?
So
I don't know how that
most insurances don't.
Okay,
I mean,
awesome.
Medicare, so it's people 65 and over have to have a prescription. Most insurances don't require that, and partially that's physical therapy. We've failed historically on branding ourselves as like the go-to for that type of stuff.
Right.
And so that's been our push for the last like 15 years in the PT world, is like getting people to recognize you can go straight to PT. Most of the time, we can get either a treatment plan established or recognize, hey, this person needs to go see an orthopedic or needs to go see a chiropractor, whoever else, right?
Yep.
And kind of guide that care, direct it, and recognizing if we're the person to treat them or not. And that's what we're trained to do.
And I think, honestly, like we haven't ever had really a physical therapist approach us as a Krave team and be like, hey, I want to work with you guys. A lot of chiropractors do. And so I didn't even know the opportunities that were available for our athletes until I met you and got to know, everything. And we've sent several athletes over there, and they just love it. And they're able to come back after a month, or they can still continue to do things. Maybe they modify a little bit, but then they're back to health. And it's so cool to see them. And, the feedback I get on you is that you don't push them to be in there 3-4 times a week if they don't really need that, and that's what they love, is because a lot of people don't have time to do that. And then financially they think, well, or is you just want me in here to spend my money and things like that. And that's unfortunate that industry can be that way sometimes. Right. But that's just great things I've heard from our athletes about you, is how, just loyal and realistic you are with the expectations.
And I can speak on it personally so I think most of the people that listen to the podcast know that I threw my back out, several months ago now. I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago probably, or at the beginning of the year, and went, immediately. I call up Sam and I'm like, hey, I'm stuck, hunched over, and I can't move. What do you got available? And so he was, went in and did, and again, he knows that my goal is to be able to do what I love doing, working out and being physical, right as soon as possible, right? So we go in and we do some, a lot of it for me at least was stretching. The dry needling is amazing, and go over some techniques and some of the things that you guys might offer inside of the. Do you call it a clinic? Is that okay? Inside of the clinic, that that can be a tool to help and what some of those things do. Starting with dry needling, for me, when I did that, it was one of the things that loosened up my back. So the injury itself was like a spinal injury that I guess I never got it exactly. I never got X-rays or did anything
Maybe
like
Sam
that.
should talk on this, what your injury was.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Maybe
I guess I never got it. I never got X-rays, never did anything like that drastic on it. But I've had it before to where it's probably a bulging disc. I assume that it is a bulging disc injury or something like that. Not so debilitating that I felt I needed to go into the doctor and get a surgery or anything, but bad enough where my back seizes up and I'm just not able to move, kind of stuck stiff, and then bending over is an issue. And so the biggest issue for me is the secondary or tertiary part of the injury that my back is not wanting to release my spine and continue to seize up. So dry needling is for that purpose was to try to loosen it up, and it's amazing. That was actually the first time I've ever done it, and it would be, what I've done in the past is like, okay, heat it, do different things that will hopefully loosen it up so you can
or
move.
E-stem. I don't know if that's
Stem,
the same.
yeah, E-stem, different things too. But go over some of the different tools and stuff that you guys have internally. Say that someone comes in with an injury, kind of what tools might you have available?
So one of the big tools or groups of tools is just manual therapy. So hands-on, whether that's myofascial release, deep tissue work, dry needling, which we use a little needle that's kind of like an acupuncture needle and go deep into those muscles to get them to loosen up. And in those cases, like in that situation, there's probably a disc underlying that, but then you get this vicious cycle of like the disc hurts, so the muscles clamp down around it, which makes it hurt more, which makes the muscles tighter. Mm-hmm. And so just getting in and breaking up that cycle of tightness and pain is kind of the first step typically. Then obviously teaching you some things to work on at home so you can start to self-treat a little bit, because I can do the best hands-on technique with you in the world, but if you go home and don't do anything with it for 3 days, it doesn't matter. I mean, to be honest with you. So then pairing that with the right exercises, whether it's stretching, strengthening, whatever you need to be working on, to try to maintain any progress that we make. And then probably our most important tool is education, honestly, like teaching people, people are all over the board on how knowledgeable they are with exercise and activity, but teaching modifications, teaching them how to ease back into the stuff they want to do.
Sure.
I think a lot of times people, like if someone maybe hurt their back deadlifting, for example, to me, the answer is not like don't deadlift. It's like we need to get you back to deadlifting because clearly that movement needs some work, right? Because that's a real life movement. You pick up a bag of dog food off the ground, pick up your kid off the ground, that's a deadlift, right? And if you can't do that, if that's a vulnerable position for you, you need to actually work on that and get it stronger so that you don't, in real life, hurt your back.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So,
and I even, when I was pregnant, I went to you because my lower back was just causing me so much pain, and that was the best thing I did because it's, then you gave me those stretches and it worked. It's a crazy thing when you actually go get help for something instead of just complaining about it, and you do something about it. But.
And that's kind of the model of PT in general, but like especially what I want to focus on is like, I'll see you a few times and get my hands on you and hopefully loosen some stuff up, but I want to show you how to self-treat it, and that way, 6 months from now, if this happens again, I'm your first call, and then a couple sessions get you back on track, and not let it snowball into a bigger issue,
Right. Yeah. And that's huge. So, I forgot my train of thought as we were going.
I think it just went that way.
Yeah. I lost it over there. So anybody that is involved in, anybody that does train at Krave, you have access to Sam. He is there quite a bit, but go over kind of what you're doing right now as far as being at Krave and when someone might be able to find you there.
Yeah. So first of all, you can always call or email if you have a question or, figure out a time to check it out either at the gym or at the office.
And we have business cards too that we can give you.
Yeah. But I am at the Waukee location every other Friday, usually from about 12:45 to 1:15-ish, depending how many questions there are. Usually sit there and pick up my wife a little bit while she's working out. And if nobody has questions, I hang out for a little bit and take off. And like last time I was there was like 6 people with questions.
Right, yeah, and today there was nobody.
Which is fine. I like just hang out there. I'm available if you have questions. It can be a quick, easy question, or it can be like, hey, will you take a look at my shoulder? And definitely do that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And so what ages do you work with? Like what is it all over the place, or what's, what do you
so
do at your...
Like I personally, I usually don't see kids under like 7 or 8 just because that's not my comfort zone, but all the way up to 90,
Yep.
I would say like my sweet spot is like that 20 to 45-year-old active person, but I see everybody. We've got another therapist that likes to see the younger kids, so like if we get a referral, usually she sees them. But yeah, like we just talked about this at work the other day, like if you had a patient population that you could see more of, like, and fill your day with those people, who would it be? And it was like, for me, it was weightlifters, baseball players, and like knee injuries, like active people that want to get better. And not to say I don't love my 65-year-old
Oh, yeah.
ladies with
Yes.
balance issues for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
But like if half my day could be athletes and the other half could be my older population.
Well, and I think every business has to pick their demographic, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's totally fine. But yes, we love on the others too that are there.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah. Do you have anything? Any questions for me?
Nope.
You're pretty
I already
healthy, aren't you?
know. I have no
We've
issues.
we've both seen him. You haven't seen him.
I've
yet.
got no issues
Nice.
going on in
He's
my
young.
life.
He's like
You
15
just-
No,
years old.
That's true. Yeah, he's like 10.
I don't accept pictures of his age.
Well, right, yeah. Sam just didn't like kids, so.
Right.
No, but I mean, as far as me, so I fortunately for the last few years I've been pretty injury free and healthy for the most part. But when I was younger, when I was in high school, I had a lot of, and I still have a lot of hamstring tightness because of it. I've pulled each hamstring 4 times each. So
Oh.
it's like it was terrible. Like to a point that, and it was within all 8 times that it happened was within like a 3-year period. And I think out of the 8, like 3 of them were bad enough that I had to actually go in and get physical therapy done. So luckily, like I said, some of the times it was, a smaller tweak where I just had to kind of sit out of things for a couple of days, let it, get back into, playing shape. But then there were some ones that, I had to go in and actually get some real, hands-on therapy done. I think it was A-stem. That it was fantastic. Like, but I mean, my hamstring was bruised. Like my whole leg was just black and blue for like 3 days after it. It was awesome. But so I mean, that's where physical therapy has really helped me. And it wasn't something where I didn't have to go to the doctor and go through a whole process. It was literally as simple as saying, or my coach was like, oh, go up here, go to this physical therapy clinic, and they got me in within a couple days, and within a couple sessions, I was ready to go. So it's something where I think it can benefit everybody, regardless of age, regardless of athletic status. Yeah.
So Amber has to roll. Sam probably has to roll here too. We're getting on 45, but we were going to do a word of the week to finish off today, and Zach's going to take the lead on this word of the week.
What's that
and then
now?
we'll talk about it. But it has to do with PT and what can definitely benefit you. So go ahead with word of the week of the day.
Well, this is not planned.
Today.
This isn't planned by any means.
Right.
Yeah.
I threw him. I'm throwing him under the bus.
Yeah, this isn't planned at all, but it was my word, so I guess I can talk about it.
Yeah.
And now I forgot what it was. Perspective. Thanks, Sam. Prioritize.
There you go.
So it was something that I saw, and I seen it a couple of weeks ago. I think on Facebook or something. And I think one of the things that people tend to struggle with a lot in the fitness and in the health world is their priorities are just very out of whack. So like so many people that I talk to, like that come in for a nutrition meeting or come in for personal training, rather than focusing on, okay, I'm going to eat the proper amount of protein and the proper amount of fat and carbs, they're so focused on, okay, when exactly should I eat this one thing? And like, that's going to make me lose weight. Like, but people don't realize that if you're not eating in the proper macro range, doesn't matter when you drink your protein shake. There's like that myth of the anabolic window where you have to eat your protein shake within 5 minutes after your workout, otherwise it's useless. Well, if you're not getting enough protein anyway, it doesn't matter when you have it.
Right.
So I mean, it's almost, people love to put the cart before the horse for a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it is just unfortunately the internet and society, and it's something where there's articles all over the place on bodybuilding.com or whatever, talking about all this stuff, and there's so many more important things, getting the right amount of sleep, getting your recovery in, getting your proper training sessions in every week, that if you just focus on those few basic things and get those down, that's 95% of what you need to do. The other 5% can be those little tweaks and those little optimization things of, when should I eat this? When should I do this? Should I add this in? But if you're not getting that first 95% of the stuff that you need to be doing taken care of, that last 5% doesn't matter. No, another good one is like supplements. Certain supplements, like people love, you know, getting in and getting this very specific supplement, and thinking, oh, this is going to be the key right here. You know, I'm not working out properly. I eat like shit. You know, but if I just take this one, you know, random supplement, I'm going to lose a bunch of weight. Well, that one random supplement, it could help, and it probably will help if you're doing the other things right.
I like to think of it as a pyramid, and the thing that you need the most of being the base, and the lower percentages being the top that can optimize things. But you want a giant base to where if you're not getting your workouts in, if you're not sleeping, if you're not doing some of these main things, then the pill that you get, you know, for supplements is not going to do anything from you, because you can't cancel out that. Same thing goes, you know, drawing it back to kind of the PT, the physical therapy side of things, is for me especially, is prioritizing things when it doesn't directly affect you. Like, and I'm guilty of it right now. I know that I need to do certain exercises to help my back, and I know that I need to do like mobility things to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I do it every once in a while, but when I was in pain, like, that was my number one priority, was to get that shit done. So I did, the entire day was filled with exercise and PT and chiropractic and just doing exactly what I needed to do. And then as soon as you start feeling better, you stop putting that on your priority list. So that's another thing that I think that we need to have in our priorities is, and set as a foundation, are these different things that that we need to have. And we'll put some specific, maybe that's another a good time when we prepare more for this, but a good thing, what we'll do is we'll actually try to make like a fitness priority pyramid, and kind of show what most people think about when they think about doing things, is that pyramid's kind of flipped upside down, right? So the first thing that I do if I want to get in shape is I go to a supplement store. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I get this $300 package of a bunch of crap that if I don't do all of this other stuff, that's going to do absolutely nothing for me.
And like today's actually a perfect example. I was thinking of this earlier because Amber put a video out about our new Shred, the new thermogenic that we got. And that's like a perfect example of this. Every supplement works. Every supplement that we carry works, obviously.
Right.
We're not going to put stuff out there that doesn't work. But like the Shred, it's a metabolism booster, a fat burner. The problem is that people go to a supplement store, they buy that Shred, and they don't do anything else. And they think, okay, if I just take this pill, it's a fat burner, so I'm going to lose a bunch of weight. Well, unfortunately, no. You know, if you, just like she said in her video, you know, if you are hitting your training sessions, if you're eating properly, if you're recovering properly, if you're getting your sleep, you know, getting your water, everything there, those big major things are under control, and you just need that little extra boost, get over the top, then that's when something like that is going to help.
Right.
If you're not doing the other stuff, that's kind of unfortunately why supplements can get a bad rap too. Is, you know, people just love to go to the supplement store, and unfortunately, a lot of supplement salespeople are.
I think the positive though is that even though our mindset with the human condition is backwards, that I'm going to go buy this supplement and it's going to help me. The thing that I think accidentally happens is you accidentally set your foundation after you make a giant purchase, right? So I buy a $300, $400 supplement pack, and now I'm committed because I actually put some money behind it.
Right.
So now it's like, oh, now I can make sure that I sleep a little bit more. Now I spent money on this, so I should probably go work out as well. I did this, so I should probably start eating correctly as well. And so it's almost an after effect as far as that goes. And so the word being prioritized, or were we doing prioritize or priority?
Well, it's both.
Yeah, I like it. We're not worried about tenses.
No.
In the gym closet,
no.
But
you get the gist.
Yeah,
you know?
But the priority, setting those priorities is a huge thing. I'm sure. So, bringing it back to PT, what do you see as far as, we talked about diet, we talked about nutrition and that kind of stuff. But what are some of the priorities that you think are oftentimes screwed up in your field?
Yeah, I mean, we always see people that are, of course, skipping their warm-up or not taking time to kind of cool down afterwards. That's
Sure.
the most obvious thing. People that just don't exercise in general, their excuse is always they don't have time, right? And my response to that is, it's not that you don't have time, it's that it's not important to you or not important enough, right? So how can I teach you the importance of that and why you need to do that? And let's look at your daily routine. If I'm asking you to do 20 minutes of back exercises or 40 minutes of more intense exercise in the gym, like what about that 4 hours you spend sitting on the couch playing video games or watching TV, right?
Right.
There's 40 minutes there that's unproductive time that you could make productive.
Definitely.
So kind of just self-reflection on like, what's a normal day? What's a normal week look like? All I'm asking for you right now is to carve out 15 minutes and then let's make it 30 minutes or whatever it needs to be.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's a perfect segue into priorities and time management.
Definitely, yeah, and that's a huge thing, and getting into more of the Krave program, and we were talking about this earlier, but prioritizing and time management, we try to make it easy for you for optimizing each training session, and when we periodize, which is different than prioritize, but when we plan the workouts, the nice thing about what we do is you should train with us 3 days a week, and that's because it's formatted, it's periodized to the point where we know that you're getting what you need in those 3 times a week versus throwing a dart at the wall, having to work out 6 times a week because you may or may not hit what you need to hit for your workout of the day or whatever a lot of other gyms will be doing. And that's one of a popular argument that we talk about with maybe new athletes that are coming to Krave for the first time is why I'm used to working out 6 days a week. Why do I now only formally work out with the team sessions 3 days a week? And the answer is always because we want to optimize your time, and time is precious. And I'm sure the time when the excuse of I don't have time is an excuse that is probably one of the most used when it comes to being physically fit or taking care of yourself, being healthy. And so we want to optimize your time and program your training in a way that for 3 hours a week, now we suggest that you're active every day, but that doesn't mean that you have to be intensely working out like you do with us. So we base all of our training off of an NCAA athlete type of training, right? So you're with your strength and conditioning coach 3, maybe 4 times a week in college, and you're with your sport or your coaches on those other days, and so you're active every single day. And so now we have a new vehicle for being athletic. We're still we're still living, so we're still an athlete, but now we don't have that sport to keep us active on our off days. We've replaced strength and conditioning with Krave, so now I'm still an athlete with those 3 sessions, but now my sport might be walking the dogs, might be taking a walk with the kids, might be doing something active. If you have a specific goal to where you're running marathons or something, those active rest days are where you can put in extra miles, because it's still important to get those strength and conditioning sessions in when you're doing those goals. And so that's how we program everything, so that you don't have to, live your life in the gym like some programs say you need to in order to get results. You're going to get results with us in 3 days a week. Anything on top of that, staying active the rest of the way and having your priorities lined up, that is all going to be, increase the results, maybe increase the time that you get the results. But you're going to get the results from training those 3 times a week because we've put that into the program. That's what all of our research, everything's based on that 3 team sessions per week. And so when you add a walk with the dog, when you add a bike ride with the family, when you add an extra weightlifting session if you're wanting to have more muscle. You know, whatever your goals are, you can add some of those things on your off day, or what we call our active rest days, and that's what's going to get you the optimized results, and just increase the amount of, or decrease the amount of time that it might get you to your goal, whatever your goal is. So again, that's the priority, and time management is a huge part of prioritizing what is important to you. You know, and we talk about, you know, family stuff, we talk about everything when we're in here. So as you know, as a dad, you have to prioritize your time even more, because now you have to pick your kid up from the daycare. You have to
in 7 minutes.
in 7 minutes. Yeah. So you probably have to get rolling. But that's that. You know, those things you don't in life. Trust me, you will never just stop being busy. You know, no matter what you do, no matter what you are into, you're always going to be busy. And so it's just lining up what's most important to me, that I can knock off my list. And that's what prioritization is. And if I prioritize, number one to me is workout. Maybe I wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to get my workout in because I know I have to work out that day. Or maybe I know that I block off a certain time for that because that's priority number one. I know that that's going to get done. If priority number two is a project at work, then that's going to be the next thing that gets done. But if you prioritize that project at work, and that's fine if that's your first priority. But if that's your first priority, you may or may not get your workout in because that's going to take precedent over it. And there's times in your life that's okay, you know, to get that in, and your workouts might be less. You might not, but that's why you only need 3 in a week, right? So just thinking about those things, taking inventory on what your day looks like. And so our action steps for this word of the week is going to be doing that. Take inventory of what your time looks like and write down your priorities. If there's 5 things that you want to prioritize in your life, write them down, and write them down in order of how important they are to you at that time in your life, and make sure that if that matches what you're saying, then great. That's what's going to happen in your life. If it doesn't match what you're saying, if you're saying that or thinking that my number one priority needs to be getting in shape and being healthy, but you have 6 things in front of getting in shape and be healthy, you may not have time to do that. So relaxing might need to get replaced by a workout, like you had said.
Or shortened, right?
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah.
need for that
Yep.
too. And
Yeah.
so your actions are going to speak to what your true priorities are, right?
Exactly.
Whether you believe that's the case or not.
Exactly. And that's exactly right. In life, you're going to take action on your priorities. So take inventory this week. You know, write a list of what you want your priorities to be, and just, you know, inventory the week and analyze your week and say, are these what I write down? Are these actually my priorities? Because maybe you'll be surprised and they won't end up being your priority, and then you'll have to change some things. So I think that's all we got. Anything else you guys want to add today?
Nope.
Awesome. Let's get the hell out of here. Thank you for joining us, and remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
Born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.